Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender in Europe, game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the Thousand Year Reich series. We are going into March of 1944. And we will just go ahead and get right into it. There's no declarations of war. Economy is... he is at 11 plus 5, 16. He's at 32 again. The Germans, the British are all the way up to 24 points. And the Russians are actually up to 40 because they picked up Vitebsk last time. So I have 6 and 5 Lend-Lease, that's 11 and 9. So they have, yeah, we're up to 40. Okay, and that's economies. Now we're doing the strategic warfare against the Soviets. They're +4 to +2. He rolled a 5 +2. He didn't have any subs and I didn't have any partisans. He rolled 5 +2, which is a 7. Ouch. I could only roll a 5. So it's enough for me to not lose a factory, but he gets one back. Then we go over to the west, and I am only +4 to his +5. And I played my ultra to have him. He rolled a 3 + 5 is an 8, halved down to a 4, and I rolled dismally. A 5 is not enough. The British get back a factory, but so do the Germans. So the Brits are as high as they can get because they're at 5 minus 1, it's 4, 7, and 6. So 13, they'll be up to 26 next turn. And then I rolled a 6 for my ultra, so that, you can see how this turn's going to go. And a strategic movement for the Axis. He brings the Swede all the way to there from Oslo. I have no idea why. It makes no sense to me. But, okay. I started to move this guy and realized I can't do that because I'm not in supply, so I can't move that guy. West didn't have one, and I don't think the Soviets did either. So, go into operations phase for the Germans. This was us talking about this whole supply thing. So, anyway, this guy goes after a bomber, and because we're in poor weather, and I think his other should have another German aircraft go down. Oh no, he didn't have to because I didn't bring back Bomber Command this turn. That's right. So he didn't do anything there. Did he go after? I think he's got the Italian going after the American now. So he's -1, and I have myself at minus. So I'm -6 for sorties and weather, but I'm +3 because I'm 2 for being in England, Western aircraft in England, and +1 because I'm American. So I'm at -3, and he's at -1. He should be at -3. He should be at -3. There we are. It's -3 to -3. We're trying to roll 6s on the other guy. Rolled a 5, -3 is a 2. Even if I rolled a 6, it wouldn't matter. So we each took a sortie, and then he took another sortie to run me up because he's got the economy to do it. This Swede runs away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, he's running away. Not quite sure why. And then he goes ahead and tries to attack the mountains next to Rostov to try and push another hex in. So he is... This is severe now, so he's 2, 3, -1. He's +2 and halved. And there's nothing I can play, so +2 and halved. Rolled a 1 +2 is a 3, so it's down to a 2, which can't push me. And then he moved this Vichy unit out to go up to here. And then brought this Yugoslav into here. So he's got 3 hex attack that way on the 3rd Guards, who is +1, and he is -1. So it's 2, 3, 4, minus 1. It should be +3 to +1. He rolls a 9 again. Half to 4.5 becomes a 5. I rolled a 4, half down to a 2, so I'm flipped. Then he attacks at 2, minus 1, so he's +1 to -1. Rolls a 4, half down to a 2, so thank God he couldn't get any kind of retreat on me. Then he moves this infantry unit out because he's doesn't want it to get attacked. Thought about it and said, no, I think I'm going to move this infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6, 7, 8, and then have the Yugoslav attack the guards unit there, so he's +3 and halved. He rolls a 7, half down to a 4. I roll a 4, half down to a 2, so I flipped. And then he has just the German attack at +2 to my -1. He rolled a 3. And I was fine. And then he moves this airplane up to here. And I think he goes after my airplane. I don't know what he's doing. Why the hell are we... Sorry about the alarm. Things going off in the background. And he ran up my airplane by 1. And he stopped at 2. He was trying to get a 2 for 1 there, but he said, that I don't want to take more than 1 sortie on that guy. And he thought about moving that Turk and decided not to. He says, I'm going to move this Turk. And he says, nah, I'm going to move this Turk. And we were debating on where the best ways to move the Turk. And this Turk he wanted to get out of the way because he didn't want him to get killed. But this Turk, we talked about, should it be there? Because he's looking for his retreat routes for his infantry unit, and I think he ended up putting it... I don't know where he ended up putting it. Just put it back on the road. Anyway, and then he's moving out of sequence here, but he wants to put the Italian there, and he wants to put this Vichy unit up there. And this Spaniard is moving up. Take care of some more garrison duty. And he supplies him. And he supplies the guy in Iraq, of course, because you don't want to have the BEF attacking guys in Iraq. I could have sworn he moved this thing away. I guess he didn't. And then we are in the supply phase, so now I think we're up here, and he's going through Plymouth. And I said, what the heck, I'm going to try to run you up some sorties. Did I? I'm not sure what I did there. No, I let him go. I let him supply the guy in Southampton. And then when he goes for the next guy is when I attack. While he's trying to supply that one. So, I rolled a 5. We're in poor. So I was +2, -2, and he's like -4 to begin with. So I rolled a 5. Best he's going to get is a 2, so he takes 2 sorties. Then I roll on the. He's -2 for convoy, -2 for weather, -1. He's like -5. How am I rolling at -3? I rolled a 3. He would have been a 1 no matter what. So he takes 2 sorties. I take another sortie there. He goes to no supply. And then he runs supply again, I think this time just with the convoy. I went ahead and attacked one time, missed badly. He got through, got supply, so I'm at 3 sorties. And then I think he's going to try to supply the Panzer. And I rolled a 3. This is with the American fleet again. I rolled a 3 on the fleet. So he took 2 sorties, and then I'm at -1 against the convoy. I rolled a 1, so I failed. And he gets through, and he's supplying this infantry. And I figured if I could get to the point where if I could make that infantry not be supplied, he would go to no supply instead of low supply. Then if he wants to supply the Panzer, fine, but this guy's going to lose a step, making it easier for me in the future to possibly knock him off. And it didn't work out that way. And he went ahead and said, nope, I'm not going to supply the Panzer. I have 3 supplied units for my western garrison. I'm going to let the Panzer go to low supply and save my sorties. It's like, oh, okay. And I think we were checking on supply. Was it... yeah, this guy went to low supply. And now I think I'm in Western Action subphase. So I go ahead and activate the BEF for 2 points. I'm going to attack here because the weather, if you remember, is fair down here. So I have... This is a mistake on my part. What I should have done is it's going to cost me 4 to attack here. So I can do that twice. I have 10 movement points. So I should have attacked once there just to see if I could get him to retreat that unit. And I didn't. So, anyway, I've set that down. I have 6 movement points left, not 4. He is at +2. I am at 0. I'm going to start off at +1. We go to combat commitment. Of course, we both committed. He threw his tanks. I threw in my tanks and my airplane. And then I threw in free forces as well. So that makes me +4 to +4. And then we roll. I get an 8. And he got an 8. So then all our stuff goes off the board. I roll for free forces. 6 turns again. Yeah, there I am. 6 turns for every marker I use. I'll get 2 uses out of it every game. That's about it. Maybe 3. So I throw in my airplane. I'm +3 to his +2. So throw in tanks again. And I finally rolled a good number. 6 + 3 is a 9. With his +2, I was sure he was going to roll like a 5 or something. But he rolled a 3. +2 is a 5, so he's forced to retreat. And this is why it would have been nice to have the Turk be retreated, but didn't work out that way. So, and I thought about it, and said, you know, I don't really have a choice. I got to take it to get away his -2. So I went ahead and took that. Now comes the fun part. I thought about this. This actually took me a while to figure out how to do this. And I decided if I play him in March, I'll have them back in April, May, June, July. I'll have them back in July. I'll have the British one in June. So I'll have 3 come the summer months. If I get kicked off the continent, so be it. I still can come back in high summer. So I played a surprise attack marker there and said, because it's poor weather, his fleets can't stop me. And then because it's a surprise attack marker, the other thing it does for me is we will be having air-naval combat on the coastal hexes of that sea zone. So I will actually be +1 when I'm doing my counter air on him, which is what I do next. This airplane comes in at, normally he would be -4, but because of the +1, he's only -3. And he goes after this guy who's -4. I rolled a 6, -3 is a 3. He did not roll a 6, so I got a 2 for 1 there. So I went ahead and I started to go up 2, and I said, nope, I'm just going to take him up 1, and then I'm going to have... I just went ahead and ran the evasion because his airplane can't stop me. So we came out into C-Zone 7. He didn't bother to throw anything there. C-Zone 10. I think he threw his airplane just to cause me to have to take a sortie, so I'm up to 4. And he put it flat back there. I land in Calais, which is unoccupied, so I capture it. And then I moved out of the hex to there. And at the end of my invasion turn, I'm sitting on a rail hex, so I place the mulberry there. And then I have the fleets go there. And then this convoy brings in Patton. Comes in this way. What's going on? Oh, I'm having a terrible time stacking things up. Oh, I'm hitting back. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So I bring Patton in this way, land him, and then I sail back out. And this is a mistake on my part, I think. But that's what I did. And this convoy went over there, picked up the first French, and then I placed my second American surprise attack marker in C-Zone 2. And then I had the American convoy, or the British convoy and home fleet. Actually, I just had the convoy coming because he couldn't stop me with whatever he had. He was going to be at 6 sorties no matter what. So I moved into C-Zone 2. We land at Edinburgh, again, which is empty. And so we advance a hex and take Glasgow. That gives me a factory and some ports on C-Zone 2. And this ends up there. Then I'd have this British convoy go 3, 4, and then into Edinburgh, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's where that convoy ends. So the reason why I say that this is a mistake, having this guy here, is I could have had him end his turn in Liverpool, which is where I have another armored unit, or in Belfast, where I have another armored unit that I could just move next turn if I need to. So that was a strategic mistake on my part. Again, I'm not playing very well. Then this American convoy comes sailing. Oh, that's why I did it. I had this American convoy. I had it come over here and do duty in Basra for a turn. And that's what that was about. Okay, and then I had Fighter Command fly in and do up the Italians. Then it flies home. Then I had the American fly in and hit Rotterdam to bring him up. And so then I'm sitting kind of pretty. There's no German army to speak of. There's German garrisons. There's 2 garrisons here. Italian army, Vichy French, and another garrison here. So he's going to have to bring something back from the east. That's the way I look at it. I only have 1 bombed marker. I'm going to place more bomb markers. Yeah. So I placed my 2 bomb markers. And then my last thing was to move Gibraltar on down to Cork. But I shouldn't have even bothered. I was thinking I might need to ship it out of Cork. But it doesn't really matter. So we are out of my action subphase, I think. I don't think I have anything else left. Or did I have an attack? I don't think I did any more attacks. I think I'm done. I don't know what I'm mucking about on. Oh, supply. And then this is the Russian action phase. In severe weather, it's just like run it up. And then down here in the south, I ran it up from Rostov. And then in the center, I said, let's chip you up to 3. Because he was trying to be so careful so he could end up at 0, and I'll make him at least be at 1 next turn. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And unfortunately, from the center, he's too far away. So, so this guy goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have my 3 hex attack here. We're in severe weather here, so it's 1, 2, 3. +3 to +2, and we're halved. Why am I only +2? Should be +3. There we are. +3 to +2. I did roll. Oh no, I'm +3 to +2. So I rolled a 9. Half down to a 4.5 becomes a 5. You rolled a 4, +2 is a 6, half down to a 3. So that's a 5 to a 3 is a DR. So I took back my hex. Yay. Then we tried to take this hex back. Again, it's going to be +3, but this time to 0. He's the primary, I think. It didn't matter. So I rolled a 3 + 3 is a 6, which is a 3. And he rolled a 5, half down to a 2.5 becomes a 3. So it didn't work. Once again. These two guys attack +2 to +2. That didn't work. I rolled a 1. And then up here, these two guys attack +1 to +2, I think. Why am I +2? Should be -1 for the woods. Didn't matter. Should not have been that much. And then I moved this guy up because he had all sorts of designs on me, and I end up removing him later. We do move that infantry up because now I have all these Alpine lines, and he can't turn my flank. So if I need to get this armored out of here next turn, I can. I'm probably not going to get through that German with all the crappy weather and stuff, and the ridge lines and everything else. And I think that armor is going to be needed to slow down some Germans here very soon. This guy, I started moving this way, and I said, nope, I'm going to go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. And by doing that, I said, then this guy needs to move from here, and he goes actually up to here, so that I can deal with him in weather. And then that guy goes to no supply. And I think we're done. No supply phase, and the Soviets, he gets flipped. I left him there because now I'm threatening to take Sundsvall. Yeah, just trying to be annoying to him. I think we're doing replacements. Yep. So all of his airplanes will be coming down. He does his convoys for the Italians. And 1 fleet in Southampton. Now I'm doing the West. So I brought down the Americans. Did all the Americans first. Then I brought in Bomber Command, fighters, a convoy, home fleet, and this airplane. And then for the Soviets, do all my airplanes. And I thought about possibly doing something with an upgrade, and I said, no, it's not worth it. Not yet. And so we're building. He gets to build a Turk. Yay, he got a Turk. He gets to build an Italian. He gets to build a German aircraft. Thought about building it in the east, and he said, no, I think I'm going to worry about the west. So he's going to try and outnumber me with airplanes in the west. Which right now we're matched, 5 to 5 fighters. I have 3 bombers on top of it. So no diplomacy phase. We go to end of turn phase. Stuff coming off the track. The Germans got a pretty good stack here. They got tanks, surface action, submarines, surface action, ground support, and economic reforms, and another submarines. Economic reforms will go out to August. If he ever gets around to it. I got an American convoy to build, a couple of British tanks, and the Americans building in March 1, 2, 3, 4. So British come in June, Americans come in July. We'll have all our surprise attack markers available for the high summer. So now it's a matter of whether he can push me off the beaches around Calais before I can get to those surprise attack markers and make a big inroads on him. So we just have to see how it goes. The reason why I did this, it only made sense to me to go here. I mean, I could have done like a single invasion and invaded London and took the time to kill all these Germans, but I looked at it and I said, you know, there's a bunch of Germans in England that can't go anywhere, can't do anything. They're not available to stop whatever I can shove into the continent right now. Right now it's only 2 armies. I might be able to get a third or a fourth one in there before too many Germans get back over here, which means I could possibly break out through like maybe to Le Havre and Lille and Antwerp. That's, kind of a little bubble here. Have 3 or 4 things here, but these German armies can't get over here to help very much. He can get the guy in Southampton probably across, move somebody out of Le Havre, and he can just come across the channel and he'll end up in Le Havre, so that's not a problem. But these guys to the north, they're not even on ports, so they can't get away. So that's an armored and 2 infantry that's not here defending parts of France. So I figure I have a mini offensive going right now. He's got to contain it. And by the time he has it contained and maybe even, ready to kick it off the continent, I'll have 3 surprise attack markers, which means here comes a whole bunch more invasions. And hopefully the Germans in England will have died of supply by then. So then he has to not only worry about whatever bubble I still have left, and then any possible flanking invasions to the north or to the south. So, making him think. So, needless to say, at this point we go to weather. Now we're in March. We're going to go into April. So you have to roll on the lines. So on the severe line, he rolled a 5. Severe line for the cold zone is still severe, so that didn't change. In the warm zone, he rolled a 1. So he got fair weather. It was on poor, goes to fair weather. And then he rolled a 2, but because we had fair weather last turn, you have to go on this top line, and a 2 is actually poor in the warm zone. So it's severe, fair, and poor. So I have fair weather going for me here in France. He also has fair weather, which means he's probably going to be able to, counter this American aircraft out of the way. But if he does so, it means he won't have any German aircraft or whatever, and I have reserves. I have a 3-factor here, a 4-factor here. I have British airplanes to deal with anything that might be getting in the way, like fleets and things. And if he keeps up his normal routine, he's going to use these airplanes to try and take out the bombers. Which, you sit there and say, well, they're -6. Well, they're only -3s because they're in England. And he will be -2. So -2 to -3 is not a foregone 2-for-1s, which means if I can take him out for 2 sorties on each one of these guys, that leaves him 2, 4, 6 sorties here, which should be enough to take out this Air Force, but not another one. So like this airplane could fly up here and I'd get a couple sorties out of him. And same thing with this airplane. So things are a little dicey for the Axis right now. I understood him hanging on to England. I thought in the winter he would say enough is enough and pull out of the north and just try to, ford up between Hull and Southampton, using London as his fallback port, and just kind of sit there in the English Channel ports and just say, fine, we'll just line up here and fight you forever on this line. Because it probably would have sucked the British into, coming down here. And then if you're fighting on that line, you don't have ports. Birmingham, that whole line there's no ports there. And if I have a bunch of infantry or a bunch of my armored units lying there, I don't have anybody available for invasions. So by him pushing me out like this, he kept me on ports, like at Cork and stuff, that I had to, I had the invasion capability. Whereas the other way I would not have. I would have had to set it up and he could have seen it coming. I think he just missed the fact that Cork can go to C-Zone 7 and into C-Zone 10. He was sure I was going to try and kick him out of London, or out of England. And I said, no, I think I'm just going to go here because there's no German army between me and Germany right now. He's got to put one there somehow. Which means probably an army coming, strategically moving from the east, and these German garrisons and these Italians all moving up this way. And if I can keep him pinned up here, then when I get the surprise attack marker, maybe I can go and invade in some place like Cherbourg or Brest. And he's got to think about it. So he's got to think about more than just one thing now. So that's the idea. It's not very much of an idea, but it's an idea. The biggest thing that happened in this turn was I got Basra. So he doesn't have his +2 there against the Russians. And he's only +3 against the American +4 against the West. So maybe I can turn the screws on strategic warfare as well. Anyway, as always, I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit the like button so that the algorithms in YouTube will keep this up for everybody else to find. And until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.